This presentation is intended for any students or faculty who have never traveled to China. I began traveling to China in 2004 and have made several trips since then. In 2008, my wife and 2 kids, then 10 and 12 years old, accompanied me on a visit. The information presented here is based on my own American visitor perspective and the perspective of my family's visit to China for the first time. I hope the things I've discovered help you to prepare and enjoy for your trip to China. How comfortable are you using chopsticks? Few restaurants have utensils other than spoons and chopsticks. My suggestion is to practice using chopsticks until you're comfortable. Practice using chopsticks to pick up slippery things like noodles and eggs and small things like peanuts. One way to do this is go to a Chinese buffet before your trip and practice picking up foods of different sizes and textures. As far as the food at the buffet is concerned, although, realize that the dishes and flavors you'll experience at this American Chinese restaurant are quite different from the food you'll eat on your trip to China. Very important to realize that you should not drink any tap water. Don't eat any uncooked vegetables or fruit, and don't put ice in your drinks. If you go to a fruit stand, you can get fruit, just make sure it's peeled. You peel it before you eat it. Street food sometimes can be a good quick snack, but avoid any meat or anything raw. On occasion, you'll be going to banquets. Banquets are served where there may be as many as 20 dishes. These dishes usually come in the order of first cold dishes, then hot dishes, then soup, and then fruit. You should use your chopsticks for food and spoons for soup. Make sure that you set your chopsticks on the chopstick rest in between bites, as shown over here. Setting chopsticks on a bowl is considered bad luck, and standing up in a rice bowl is considered rude. Serving dishes are generally not passed, so you can reach for food with your chopsticks or use the lazy Susie and move it if nobody else is taking food at the time. You need to get used to eating from community bowls. Often food will be eaten directly out of the bowls sitting on the tables. And generally, don't take the last bit of food from the serving dish. That can signify to the server or to your host that you are still hungry. You'll have quite a bit of freedom on your trip. Just make sure that you stay in groups and you don't wander alone. Keep your money and passport secure. Make sure you inform your coordinators if you're going out and when you anticipate returning. And most of all, make sure you use common sense wherever you go and whatever you do. Carrying packages of tissues is a good idea. Many local restaurants do not routinely have napkins, and some toilets may be out of paper, especially public toilets. It's best to be prepared. I recommend that you learn or you see how to use a squat toilet. Places like UDCI and the apartments you stay at have Western style toilets. However, some places you visit may have only squat toilets. My suggestion is to look up onto YouTube on how to use a squat toilet, just so you're prepared. I recommend putting your cell phone away, not using it unless you absolutely need to. International calls are generally very expensive, and texts as well are expensive. Typically carriers may charge 50 cents per text for outgoing message and 5 cents per text for incoming message. There is high-speed internet at the apartments, but it is somewhat inconsistent. A high-speed apartment at UDCI is very good. I recommend loading Skype onto your PC before you travel, and if you have an iOS device like an iPad or an iPhone, you can use it with Wi-Fi and use FaceTime. If you are going to use Skype, you may want to purchase Skype credits before you leave. The minimum amount of credits that you can buy is $10, and using Skype credits, you'll be able to make calls to landline phones and to cell phones in the U.S. for about 2.3 cents a minute. So 10 cents should last, or $10 should last you quite a while. Before you leave, say goodbye to Facebook, say goodbye to Twitter, say goodbye to YouTube. Most of these sites are blocked from the U.S. Blocked to the U.S., blocked from China. You may want to test the sites using this website, thegreatfirewallofchina.org. If you log on to this site and enter your address of any websites, it'll tell you if it's blocked from China. The currency that you'll be using is typically known as the RMB or the yuan. The unit of measure, 1 1 yuan is divided into 10 jiao. So this paper yuan and coin yuan are the same. $1 is approximately 6 RMB, 6 yuan. So each of these are about 15 cents. So when you look at your money, make sure you keep track of the money. When you get change, often you'll get change in coins and smaller dollars. Generally, when you're using money, it's not within the culture to do tipping, so you don't tip at restaurants, don't tip at taxis and other areas. My recommendation is to just practice dividing by 6. That way, you'll know if you're getting if you're paying a reasonable price for things that you are looking for. I would anticipate no more than about $100 per week for food. Food is generally very expensive, very inexpensive, as well as snacks and souvenirs. You can bring some money and exchange it before you go, or you can exchange at the airport while you're waiting for your luggage. There is also an ATM near the apartments, but watch out for ATM fees, so you don't want to make too many withdrawals too often. Probably no more than once a week or once every 2 weeks if you need to, but just watch the fees that you'll get paid for, that you'll pay for things. Also, many sites, many places do not use credit cards. Restaurants, unless it's a very fancy restaurant, typically will not use credit cards, and most stores will not use credit cards. So you'll be doing a lot of work with cash. Some popular items to bring back from China include silk, tea and clay tea sets, jade or pearls, paintings, calligraphy, any kind of artwork, fans, signature chops, which are small carved things with your name carved on it, and the artist will carve right while you're waiting. It's a great gift for people that you know. It's very personalized. Well, you'll need to, if you are going to buy jade and pearls, which are inexpensive, you will need to know if you're purchasing real jade and real pearls. So there are ways to tell if they are real. For jade, for instance, real jade scratches glass, so you will see at many of the jewelry stores where you can purchase jade scratches on the glass countertop. That's one way to tell if it is real. Pearls, you can tell if they're real by scraping pearls together, by rubbing them together, and a powder, calcium, will come off the pearls. If the layer underneath looks exactly like the layer they came off, then generally they are real. So take a look at that, and some of the locals or some of the students can help you with purchasing things and helping to negotiate. When you do go to places like the Yew Garden, which is shown in this photograph, or other places to shop for souvenirs, you will need to learn about negotiating. As negotiating as a tourist with little or no skill, you generally would get the worst deal. So learning how to negotiate is a great thing to do. You can also bring other Chinese students or folks with you who can help negotiate on your behalf. Rule of thumb is that street vendors, family-owned stores like mom-and-pop stores, you can generally bargain, but large malls, corporate chains, there's no negotiating, no bargaining. Generally bargaining on material items only, like gifts and clothing, not on food. You won't bargain at restaurants or at street food. And sometimes you'll see a store that says all prices final. Disregard that. That means nothing. They're just meant to trick people who are not knowing about the policies and ways of the culture. Before you buy anything, you might want to take a look at prices, compare prices at different stores. That way, you'll know generally how things are priced. And also, if you don't get a good price at one store, you can go to another. Generally, this is all a game. So generally, when you are negotiating, you want to show no emotion. If you show excitement or smile as the shop owner sees you, then you lose your negotiating power. Things like calling your husband or friend or somebody over to say, "Oh, look, it's so beautiful. I just love it," are key indicators to the shop owners that you'll pay the maximum price. They will take a much harder stance when negotiating if you show emotion. You want to express apathy. Again, use your poker face. Show disinterest for even being in the store. If they show you something, shrug it off like they're wasting your time. Might want to point out some flaws if there are some. Look closely. Frayed edge, a nick in the wood, a bad color on the jade, an uneven design. Be sure to point it out with your finger and say, no, look over here, look over here. Too expensive is another good way to look at it. If the store owner mentions any price, say it's too expensive, and say it with gusto in the way you would respond if somebody were cutting you off in traffic. Keep a serious face. Don't show any fear. If the store owner mentions any price, if the store owner may tell you how cheap you're being, or may give you disgruntled looks, or even joke with other people about how cheap you're being, this is part of the process. They'll want your business, and they still want your business, and you basically get one shot. If you leave the store, and the shop owner chases after you, then you're in the right ballpark. If you leave the store and they don't chase after you, then you're probably way off in your price. If you leave the store and then you come back a second time, the owner knows that you want something and you've lost your negotiating power. So if you found something that you want, here's some tips for negotiating. Whatever price is said, cut it by 75%. So if they say 200, say 50 or 60. One or two things will happen. They'll either say okay, and if they say okay, then you bid too high and you just have to accept the offer. Or they'll tell you you're cheap, or they can't sell it to you and wave you off. If that happens, walk away. As I said, if you're walking away, they may run after you and say, okay, we'll negotiate more, or they may let you go. If they let you go, then you know you're way off. If they do make a counteroffer, it should be closer to the 75% off price, and then walk back and buy it. If you generally want to pay with exact change or change that is close to what you negotiated, so if you bid or if you are paying 10 RMB, don't give 100 if you can avoid it. Medications, you want to make sure that you pack any prescriptions in your carry-on bag, and then over-the-counter medications are probably not a bad idea. Some of the foods may take a little while for your stomach to adjust to the foods there, so things like Pepto-Bismol and Imodium is probably not a bad idea. You may also want to bring any Tylenol or Advil or cold tablets or whatever you decide to use. Just make sure that your prescriptions are in your carry-on bag, because you just never know if your bag will be misplaced, if your check bag will be misplaced. Your passports, leave a copy of your passport and your travel visa at home. Make sure that your coordinator, the trip coordinator, has a copy of your passport and your visa. You will need your passports quite often. You'll need them in the airport. You will need them getting on the train. Anytime you exchange money, anytime you check into a hotel, you'll need your passports. When you're going out socially or when you're going to class, leave your passports at home or in your apartment, but take them with you when you do travel and go on tours. Make sure that you leave at home a copy of your passport, any credit card numbers that you take with you, emergency phone numbers that you might have, your flight information, and your travel itinerary. Now, in your apartment, you'll be staying in an apartment with one other student. They are 2-bedroom apartments. The apartments do have washing machines, but they do not have dryers. So you will need to wash your clothes and hang them in an area provided. You can see in this photograph there is a balcony, and this balcony area has a washing machine on one side, and there's a bar hanging across where you can hang your clothes. My suggestion is to pack no more than about a week to a week and a half's worth of clothes, because you can do laundry anytime. When you arrive, you can buy laundry detergent, and you can buy hangers to hang your clothes. In the bathroom is an individual water heater, and the water heater is for the shower. So you'll need to make sure that you turn on the water heater at least 30 minutes prior to showering, just to make sure the water heats up. The hot water will last about 15 minutes. So if you and your roommate are both prone to long showers, you may want to make sure you stagger the times, perhaps one in the evening and one in the morning. Otherwise, take quick showers so you both have hot water, and then make sure that you turn off the power to the water heater before you leave for the day, because we do get charged for any energy use, all the electricity used. So turn out the lights and turn off the power. You will have a bed with pillows. It is fairly comfortable, although the beds are generally very hard. So you may want to may take a little getting used to. There are no clocks or alarm clocks in the bedrooms, so you can use your phone as an alarm clock, or bring a small travel alarm clock with you to make sure that you're up in time and not late for class. There are some appliances in the kitchen. There's generally a burner and a microwave and a rice cooker and a teapot. So these are things that you can use. It's very easy to run down to the store and get noodles, boil water, and use that. Also easy to microwave things in your apartment. For any power that you might use, especially for your laptop or any other devices, take a look at the adapter and make sure on the adapter that it says it can run 220 volts and it can run 50 hertz. United States runs at 110 volts, 60 hertz. China runs at 220 volts, 50 hertz. If the equipment and the things that you're going to run in China say that they will run at 220 volts and 50 hertz, then all you will need is a universal plug adapter. These are the plug adapters, and you can see what the power looks like in China. Generally, you'll plug in things with that do not have a three-prong, like if you have an electric toothbrush, if you have a charger, anything like that, you'll plug in directly over here. You won't need to convert anything, as long as they say that they can run on 220 volts and 50 hertz. If you have anything that is a three-prong plug, like your computer, then you will need a power adapter. And the power adapter, make sure that it is capable of having of putting a place for your ground. When you plug these devices in, plug it into the wall, then all this does is convert the plug. It does not convert power. These universal plugs, universal plug adapters, you can find for about $10 to $15, generally at places like Walmart. And I would purchase them here before you go. They are a little more difficult to find in China. Language, you might want to look at some basic phrases such as ni hao and sai chen for goodbye, shei shei, thank you. These are some good expressions to use. Taxi drivers generally do not speak English, so if you're going somewhere by taxi, then you'll want to make sure that you have a card or something written down on where you're going to go. We will give you a card when you arrive that has contact information as well as the address of some of the places that you will need. So, for instance, UDCI and the apartments where you're staying, these are the addresses. So if you are out and about and you need to take a taxi home, you can show the taxi driver, just point to this and they will take you where you need to go. Remember that you'll be paying cash for a taxi, and taxis you generally pay exact change. Some general travel tips. It is about a 15-hour flight from Chicago. I call it a 7-movie flight. So you'll need to entertain yourself. You'll entertain yourself for those 15 hours. The seats will have USB outlets, so bring your chargers, although they will not have 110 outlets. Except in business class and in Comfort Plus. So on the regular seats, they'll only have business USB plugs. Make sure that your your chargers are in your carry-on, so you can access them if you're using anything on the plane. Make sure you drink plenty of water on the plane. It is very easy to get dehydrated, and avoid alcohol on the plane. That also dehydrates you. Walk around, stretch, get up, and move around as you can. Make sure that, as I said before, your medications are in your travel bag. And because it is a 12-hour difference to China, my suggestion is to try not to sleep too much on the plane. You will arrive in China around 2 or 3 o'clock, and then it's another 2-hour drive to Suzhou, to the apartments. So by the time you get there and have dinner, it will be generally close to time to go to bed. So my suggestion is if you don't sleep too much, then you'll be able to sleep better that first night. The baggage allowance, and this is from United Airlines, since that's what most of us will be flying on this trip. This is from the United Airlines website. You are allowed one carry-on bag plus one personal item. The carry-on bag must be able to fit above in the carry-on area above your seat, so you're limited to a 14 by 9 by 22-inch bag. So that's a standard carry-on bag. Don't overstuff it. Don't expand it, or it won't fit. Personal items such as a shoulder bag, a backpack, a laptop is permissible too. If there is room, you can put it overhead, but generally these items will stay under the seat in front of you. Check bags, you're limited to one bag of less than 50 pounds for free. If your bag is between 50 and 75 or 50 and 70 pounds, it will cost you $100 per piece each way. If you have a bag between 70 and 100 pounds, it will cost you $200 each way, and any additional bags, any second bag that you check will be $200 each way, plus the cost of overweight bags. So pack as light as you can. You do have a suggested packing list, and as I said before, I recommend no more than a week to a week and a half worth of clothes, including what you will need for school, business casual clothes for visiting plants, closed-toed shoes for visiting plants, but casual for going out in the evening. So take a look at that guide to what to pack. Pack light. If you need things, you can buy them there. You can purchase things like your toiletries, shampoos, any liquids like that. Purchase there and leave extras there. The academic expectations for this trip, you are expected to attend all the classes, and the performance expectations are high. So you want to make sure that you are working. Your number one reason for being there is for class, but we do expect that you are there having a good time and participating in the culture, but you need to make sure that you are spending time doing your homework and adhering to any deadlines. If you need to miss class because of an illness, you need to make sure that your coordinator knows, your instructor knows, and we will see if there's anything that needs to be done to take any additional care other than rest. So there are healthcare facilities available, but we'll need to know what is happening. Most of all, just make sure that you're ready to learn and take your studies seriously, but try new foods, try new experiences, embrace the culture, take lots of photographs. 6 weeks is a long time to spend to rely on your memory, so make sure you take lots of photographs, and with things being digital, it doesn't really matter how many you take. Journaling is a great way to remember this experience, so have a good time, enjoy your trip, and this will be an experience that you will remember for the rest of your life. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me. I am Scott Zagalowitz, the Director of Industrial and Technical Relations at the University of Dayton China Institute. You can reach me by email or in my office in Kettering Labs.